All right, well, this is my first try at audio commentary, so just bear with me. If you can make it all the way through this video, you get to see some sloppy riding, some bad dismounts, and some really embarrassing falls. It's going to be fun. It was pretty cold overnight, below freezing, so during the pre-ride there was still a bit of ice on the course. I was worried that it was going to warm up just a little bit and all turn to mud, so I ended up throwing a different wheel on the front, which had a mud tire on it. You can see that chunky knobs on the front tire there. The back tire still had more of a mixed terrain tire on it. You'll see how that worked out for me later. Hint, not so well, but it was what I had, so I dealt with it. I was starting the front row again today, which is sort of a mixed bag, to be honest. And it's nice to get out in front of the pack, but on the other hand, in recent races, I've just been going out too hard and digging a hole for myself. So I was going to try to keep it more balanced today. You need a little bit of effort off the front there, but let that guy go. Another one or two guys go off ahead. And there's a technical wooded section coming up. I just didn't think it was worth sprinting to it, even if I was going to be behind a few people in the, the more technical section. There are a couple of steep little hills back to back right after this bamboo section. Really hard to ride up. Yeah, you can see there, big tie up. I just sort of snuck through as one of the guys is saying, "Calm down, everyone, chill out." I'm not sure how long this second place would last, but I figured I might as well reclaim it while I could. In the wooded section here, the dirt was actually pretty loose, so it's hard to get traction on some of the turns. Some of them were packed and not bad, but places like this descent coming up here, you had roots coming across, which made things difficult, and then at the bottom, a big loose pit of dirt, and it was hard to get through. And a lot of sections like that with roots across the trail there, and then a steep, tight curve like here. We really had no choice but to hop off the bike, and then wheeling it up the hill was actually kind of awkward. So pretty slow going through this section. Winding curves. And then some places like this where there are trees in the middle of the trail. Some of them were leaning over a bit and actually a little hard to avoid. That one there, I thought I was going to hit my shoulder or my head on each time through. Here's the edge of the wooded section. It starts to get faster here, a bit more packed. I think it was right around there where I almost, oh, there. My tire almost slipped out. I'm not sure what happened. Just a little slick, I guess. Coming out here, another slick little steep incline. As you can see, the lap counter over on the right side of the screen hasn't started yet. That's because we started a little bit the way into the course, so my software isn't picking up that it's a full lap. So a few more minutes and that will start after we get to the finish line. It's interesting, another straightaway coming up here. You can see how loose that hay is, and then there's some rough grass and a little mud. So it felt like we should be going faster here, but barely cracking 20-21 kilometers per hour. But my power was spiking up to 400 watts or so. So it was a bit deceptive and ended up draining a lot more energy than you really expected at the time. coming through here, this was still almost frozen, so it was really bumpy and had to scrub a bit of speed. There's a little incline coming up here right after this bridge we're crossing. It was pretty difficult. It was steep and losing its traction each lap. Here, I think I make it up, yeah, but you know, not with a lot of stability. So it looked simple enough, but it ended up causing problems later on. This section in here was a little more relaxed. It was slower, didn't have to spend as much energy, but still just so technical that you can't really let your guard down. You have to bunny hop over a little branch there, watch out for roots and other things jutting out. And then a steep little turn here where it was really hard to keep balance and stay upright and away from those trees. Another section here that it was just hard to stay on the bike. Even if he hadn't slipped there, I don't think I would have made it, and I would have done the same thing. Another branch in the ground here to jump over, sort of a half-hearted bunny hop. I was worried I was going to burst my tires. So that on the left is exactly the type of bottleneck I wanted to avoid. So being in the top 3 or top 5, you get to avoid a bit of that. But the farther back you slip, the harder it gets to, to stay with the leaders. A little bit of mud there. And then another straightaway. This one got a bit faster. There was more packed ground, but it was pretty narrow, and that guy took the one good spot to pass. And then coming through here, it was hard because again, it was faster. All those little, I don't know, rocks or roots sticking out in that section there, and then these bridges here that you really don't want to be on the wrong side of. And then here, we're up closer to 27 kilometers per hour and not doing nearly as much effort as on that other straightaway. So we're coming up to the finish line here. It was this big mud section, and it turned right into this incline that was just impossible to ride up. You just have to pick the right time to hop off and then hop back on, get clipped in for the finish here. So I could already tell that really the fight for position was going to be probably before that last wooded section. There's the wider straightaway that was a little slower. I figure fight for position there, hold the position through the wooded area, and then again hold the position on that last fast straightaway, and just hope that you can get to that muddy section and the incline first, and just hold off whoever's behind you. It's just going to, again, be really hard to pass after you get as far as that. So here we're back to the start line. Straightaway was somewhere in between, not quite as fast as the last one leading up to the finish line, but not quite as slow as the other long one. So back to those 2 steep inclines. Can't remember if I tried to ride this one or not. Let's see. Yep, here I go, but no, not gonna make it. That was sort of a double fall there. That was the first embarrassing one of the day. Another tricky curve with the roots. Made it through there, but again, this one was just impossible. Hop off, and yeah, you can see how slow my bike was to come up. It didn't really make sense to throw it over my shoulder, but trying to wheel it up, the wheels would just get stuck on all those roots, so just really bumpy and awkward. You can see here that the front tire is just caked in mud, even though I've got the mud tire on it. The benefit of those tires is that there's more space in between the treads, so it's harder for the mud to get stuck in between, and if it does, it's easier to get dislodged. But the mixed terrain tires in the back have less space, so any dirt and mud that gets packed in there is much harder to get out. Um, so you can see when I get up to speed in this straighter section, riding over some loose gravel and all, it starts to dislodge that mud and clean it up pretty well. I can't see the back tire, but I'm willing to bet, and based on some of the slipping I've been doing, it's just not getting dislodged like in the front. Yeah, let's see here. Yep, too slick, just no traction on the back tires. I don't think I realized how close this guy had gotten. Another one is coming up too. Yeah, right there. But he tumbled. This is a steep little trough there. Pretty good recovery though. Ran through the rest of the mud and hopped right back on. Kept his position. I was thinking before that fourth place wasn't a bad spot to be in. As long as I could still see third, not let them get too far away, then I'm still at least within striking distance. But letting two more guys ahead of me, I'm starting to think, you know, reminiscent of the last race where I was in the top 5 for a little while, in the top 10, and then let another 20 people pass and finished 32nd or so. That course was really brutal with all the climbing. I think this one suited me a bit better. It was flatter and had just some surges here and there, which I'm much better equipped for. The technical sections, though, I'm never sure what to make of my abilities at this level. It's not great, but I think a lot of people at this level are in similar positions, so I sort of just hope to not lose position going through those sections and then make it up on the flat straightaways. Yep, no traction again. I made it up, but it just not with any help from the rear tire covered in dirt. My heart rate really wasn't that bad at this point or any time during the race. Mid 160s beats per minute isn't so bad for me, but I just felt it in my legs. They were just so sluggish. Yeah, you come around a tight, steep curve like that, and your legs just don't have the strength in them to keep you upright, and it's hard to keep your balance. I barely made it up there. I think I had to hop off for a second. So definitely losing ground. coming up to the mud section up here, definitely realized there was an ideal line to take. You started wide and then cut into the inside of the turn. It looked like I'd be able to make it with a lot more momentum to that incline. So that's what I was trying to do here, but someone came right in and cut me off. I lost all my momentum as he stopped. Um, had to awkwardly hop off my bike and then get back on. Didn't make a big difference in the end, but you know that that's what happens. You can't count on doing what you're planning on when you're competing against other people. So at this point, I was in 7th place. 6th place up ahead of me is already quite a ways ahead. Wasn't sure where the next 5 were. So I probably wasn't going to make up a lot of ground unless they, had some mechanical issues or something. Behind me, I didn't see anyone either. I figured if I just keep a decently steady pace and don't have any major screw-ups, then I should probably be fine. But we're still only a little more than halfway through, so a lot of race left. Here I figured just not worth the risk. Picked up my bike and ran. With spikes on my shoes, it made more sense to just run up the slope there. I think it was faster than trying to navigate the steps. See how my rear tire does here. Yeah, a little better. So we're coming up to this steep incline again. I'm starting to get worried about my back tire having enough traction. Let's see how I do here. And barely made it up. So heading into the final lap here, at this point I was just thinking, like, to maintain my position, don't make any big screw ups. You can see off to the right side there, you can see someone just coming up the last incline, another one there. So I had a decent amount of space behind me. Didn't seem like it would be too much trouble to hold them off. Feeling okay here. Was able to keep the power on, decent speed. I figured it was probably enough, again, to maintain my position. Back-to-back climbs here again. Didn't want to risk it, so I just find a good place to hop off and shoulder my bike. These guys exclaiming about how fast I was going up. I don't think they were mocking me, but I guess at this point of the race, I probably was taking a little faster than some other people walking up those steps. Oh no, here it comes. So coming around here, trying to navigate this downhill, just end over end. I think my bike was stuck between two trees. Hop back on here. Realized my chain had slipped off. Bike was okay otherwise, but oh man, that's taken over as my most embarrassing fall, I think. I didn't lose that much time, but you can see the next guy behind me there. So I'm thinking at this point, all right, there's my big screw up. Not too much damage done. Lost a little ground, but I'm still okay. Let's focus and get back to it. So I saw there's another rider in front of me here, but I didn't recognize them. So I think it was either a lapped rider or maybe someone in a different category that started at the same time as us. But there's this weird little trough coming up where someone crashed in an earlier lap, so I wanted to get ahead of them and take it at my own pace. Got through there without issue. And coming around this turn, we're back to that this flat straightaway that is deceptively slow. Up over 350 watts, but not even cracking 20 kilometers per hour. So I didn't really realize it at the time, but the guy behind me was making up a lot of ground. He wasn't that close yet, but he was definitely closing the gap. Actually, I found his video on YouTube, and I hope he doesn't mind, but I did a screen recording. I'll throw that up in a minute to give another angle. I usually like to have my own rear camera, but somehow I managed to stop the recording before the race started and didn't have anything to use. You just have that steep incline coming up again for the last time this lap. I was thinking, I've made it 3 times, I can probably do it again. Just no traction and tumble down again. Oh my god, I got it pretty quickly and on my way, but that's another 5-10 seconds lost. I think that's my new most embarrassing fall right there. You've seen number 1, 2, and 3 so far. Just so slow through these sections. I think my heart rate monitor got dislodged in that last fall. It definitely wasn't 140 beats per minute here. Horrible dismount there. And usually I would have kept the left foot clipped in and unclipped the right and swung it over, but with this loose dirt and the tree roots and all, I think my left just came unclipped and I was sort of left with it dangling there and trying to get the right foot out and over. The last technical sections here. A bunch of roots in the ground here on an incline. Trying to struggle my way through before we get to the last straightaway here. The little mud pit. I wanted to speed up just enough here not to get past before it narrows down. Yeah, so from here on, it's much harder to pass. So I figured just a decent steady speed is probably enough. Yeah, my heart rate monitor definitely wasn't working right. I was not 125 beats per minute here. I'm sure I was 170, 175. So coming up to the last turn here, just a little bit, and I just lost my footing a little bit. Couldn't dismount smoothly at all. Climbed up here, just wanted to get clipped back in, thought I'm good, but my foot slipped off, I wasn't clipped in, tumbled, there he goes past me, and I just Brannick lost the line at this point. So there it is, my most embarrassing fall ever. Falling while riding in a straight line in front of spectators at the finish line. Not really sure what else to say there. Nice job by the guy behind me to catch up and pass me at the end. Congrats to him. But man, a few races in a row now, I got the first or second starting position, and I can't really complain with an 8th place finish, but it's just starting to get a bit frustrating when I start first or second on the front row and I can't crack the top 5, let alone get on podium. So I don't know, I'll keep training, keep learning, and hopefully I can have a better result next time. Thanks for watching.